You know how it is when you meet someone and you hit it off. And you've hit it off before with people. This isn't your first rodeo. So you look for signs. You look for indications. You follow the conversation. You see how much they keep up. You see how much they recognize. You see how much they add to the thoughts that you put out there. You're not doing this intentionally. All the time. In fact, you're never doing it intentionally. But you are recognizing what comes back to you. As you start to feel your energy being accelerated by the conversation, by the input from the feedback, from the bidirectional exchange of thoughts that you're having with this person. And then you come to a point where you realize, hey, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. And you can tell without asking or without directly acknowledging that the other person feels it's pretty good too. And it just starts to flow and roll and you're feeling good. Now I'm speaking from meeting someone online, whether it be a dating service or a chat room. And the beginning of your conversations begin by texting. No, not texting, by messaging. It may start off with simple questions that the online dating service may set up for you. And in those settings, there's an option to not just take the multiple choice answer, but to actually add a few words. And then you find out that, well, you already knew that 200 words ain't enough for you. And you already knew that you can go on and stream consciousness. Just, and you've done this before. You say, you know what? Let's just see what this is. Let's just see what this one got. And early, when you first meet them, you just stream something at them. Just let it go. You're not worried about punctuations or correct spellings to a point. And you just give it to them. You just let them see what it's like to get a flow of Jeffrey. And they respond back with, yeah, I've always had a problem with 200 words or being limited in explaining or talking. And you notice that these conversations online go on and they get thicker, and then soon the medium in which you're talking isn't enough to hold the bandwidth at which you want to communicate. So you go to the next level. You actually talk to them. And by this time, the relationship or the association or the communication is so good and so positive, and it seems things are in the right way and all is good with the world, but you're still not caught up in it yet. You know, you're still like, oh, this is pretty good. Then you call and you talk to them on the phone, and before you do, you know, you anticipate that time is coming. You know it's about that time. Okay, we gotta go to the next level. You know, make that phone call. And in certain instances, the other person actually just sends you their phone number. Because you're both intelligent, you're both experienced, and you both know it's about time. Come on. You make that call, things go well, and you notice that the conversation is accelerated. There's no lull or awkwardness going from extensive, intensive messaging to voice, to actually verbal communication. And you go, whoa, 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 whoa. Then you find yourself on the phone for 5 hours like it's nothing. You find yourself exchanging experiences and thoughts and philosophies. You find yourself attracted to each other's weirdness or outside the coloring book lines thinking. And you find that you have mutual ideas and ambitions and curiosities about some of the same strange, weird things, philosophically, metaphysically, religious-wise, traveling. And it's just rolling. I mean, it is just rolling. And it continues. And it continues. And it continues. And you both are like, what's going on here? Because you both are pretty independent. In fact, one of you even wrote extensive articles or essays or status posts where they literally said where they could not think of another thing or anything that would take them out of their solo, single life. A lifestyle of complete independence. Where they actually said, I don't see anything or any reason why I would want to give this up or almost share this with anybody. And then the other person goes, I know. And you start to realize and verbalize to each other, you know, these feelings that I'm having are weird because it's been so long since I've had such feelings. And I'm not talking about love or I miss them and I can't be without them. Just the feelings of, and not even attraction or physical attraction, just the feelings of not wanting to be with them or wanting to spend time with them. Wanting is a strong word, but it's something like that where you just want to, you know, it's just really good sharing that time. And then you meet. Yeah, you meet. And by this time, through the communication and exchanges of ideas and wants and needs and the whole thing, you're at a point where the train has left the station. So just like it was when you went from messaging to verbal, now you have to make the next step. And they'll literally say you have to make the next step because you're like, why mess this up? This is going so good. Why do we have to talk on the phone? Then you get on the phone and it gets better. And you say, oh, okay, we're talking on the phone. We have to meet now. Oh. And you meet. And it accelerates yet again. It's easy. There's no complications. There's no effort. There's no intentional do this, do that. It's just a flow, a nice, easy flow that just comes together without either one of you seem to be trying. And then you meet. And it gets better. When you can, as comfortable as you were messaging them and then talking to them, you're just as comfortable being in their physical presence. And the information and communication just continues after you meet them. And then after you meet them, you realize that the conversation still is continuous. I mean, literally continuous, non-stop, without effort. When just months and weeks ago, you were like, I've said many things about love, and I don't want to be clear that I'm not talking about love in this situation. I've said many things about love and human beings and relationships, negative things where I didn't quite understand. But also, what I said that I've also said that the highest peaks of pleasure or joy or happiness come when two people come together and there's synergy or they are experienced with other people or another person. But they're peaks. The issue is the peak is good, but you got to come down to the valley and live. You got to come to normalization and live, and you hope that you get the same kind of excitement and energy and joy in the situation that you did getting to that situation. Because you both have experiences that are open, there's trust, just full-blown, wide open communication and trust, and relaxed and comfortable, you can actually talk about it. It being this relationship that you two have forged. Whatever it is, that thing. It's so good, it's tangible. It's so good, it's tangible, like an object you can look at and describe. And you do. You look at it and you describe it. You talk to each other about it. You share your feelings about it. How it makes you feel. It becomes a thing you both can sit and look at and talk about. It literally is so strong, the communication between you two, and so open, and the understanding is so powerful that you can actually look at that thing that you two have as a separate object and describe it, because you both are analytical and you both don't mind talking about anything, and you both don't mind going into details about anything. You both can talk about the laundromat. You both can talk about how you season and fry your pork chops. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where we go. It doesn't matter what we do. It's perpetual, and it just keeps going, and it keeps going. And you wonder, it's got to stop. You're an adult. You've been through this before. It's got to normalize and settle someplace, but it doesn't. And it hasn't yet. Long weeks ago, and actually this all happens within a month. I forgot to mention that part. All this may or may not happen within a month. If two people know what they're doing, and they're capable, and they know what they want, and they're open, and they can just put it all out on the table, and they're understanding, and they trust each other, or they trust it, whatever it is, it can go fast. You ever had that happen? You ever been in a situation like that? Where it's just good, it's just bright, and it's just happy. And even the good morning messages make you feel a certain way. And you talk about movies and books and history and travel, people, family, holidays. And you get a deep pleasure, joy, or happiness from that. And just all is right with the world. I know I've said a lot of things about people in their relationships, about humans, period, in their relationships. But when it's good, there is nothing better. Nothing. My name is Jeffrey Scott Mitchell. Swinging on y'all 2 times. And I'll leave you with that.